Calendar has turned to October. Doesn't much feel like it. We've got 85 degrees, sunny skies, wind gusts of about 20 miles per hour today, and we're set for action between the Sooners and the Aggies for the second time as SEC foes. Oklahoma wearing the pink uniforms, breast cancer awareness match here at John Crane Field. The lineup today for Matt Mott and the Sooners will have one of the very talented freshmen in there, Allie Lacanole, scored her first career goal against Alabama back on Thursday night. And the Sooner keeper, the veteran Caroline Duffy, she went over 100 career saves in the Oklahoma victory. She has just been a rock star even for Matt Mott and the Sooners. She's been the anchor for them defensively. Oklahoma switching things up just a little bit lineup-wise last couple of matches. Caroline Duffy back there in goal anchoring things. And for the Aggies, Coach G. Guerreri, it's basically an all-new starting team, in fact. None of the 11 starters today were starters a year ago. Bella Yekel, over 5,000 career minutes when you factor in her time spent at the University of Portland. And it's been a very competitive keeper position. Mason Veranda has seized the job, had 10 saves against Auburn and a shutout against Texas. There you see Trinity Buchanan, 16 career goals, Henderson, Nevada native, UNLV transfer, 4 goals, including the game winner against Texas the other night. Really has provided that offensive spark that Texas A&M has needed. They hadn't scored a goal in SEC play. It had been 500 minutes before she scored that lone goal against Texas back on Thursday. And we are underway on this windy and warm Sunday afternoon at John Crane Field in Norman. This one plays out to Kat Campbell. She'll kind of reset things. Juliet Rayo getting the start, heads this one forward. Nice one-touch pass by Kiefer. And Alexis Washington trying to dart outside. To the flank she goes, and she's able to knock that one out of bounds. And Oklahoma throw-in. Alexis Washington so good at possessing the ball and distributing things for Oklahoma, Nick.
You know, when we spoke to Texas A&M coach, that was one of the things he highlighted about how well that she just keeps the ball and retains it and keeps that kind of pressure moving forward. That was something they highlighted they're going to have to be watching out for in today's game.
This ball comes wide toward Michelle Pack. She'll get the throw in. Pack had the game-winning goal last year in the meeting between these two teams. All 3 goals were scored in the first 27 minutes in College Station, including that game winner. This ball headed on one hop by Juliet Rayo, who gets to start. And it's collected back there fairly easily by Veranda. Veranda was the starting keeper for this team last year, but then broke her ankle walking, basically, not even playing. And so she was sidelined for the remainder of the year. And in the meantime, you had Sydney Fuller come in, start 14 matches, and get 4 shutouts. She earned the right to be the keeper coming into the year. But because of the play of what Veranda's done recently, she's been back in there and been very good. They also have a 3rd keeper to do the Aggies, and that's Erica Deverding. She was the keeper of the year in her league at Incarnate Word last year. It's a very deep spot. For Oklahoma, it's been Caroline Duffy, rightly so. Duffy's Kingdom, as they call it. She's gone over 100 saves for her career against Alabama back on Thursday night. What a rock she has been. And sometimes it's the things that you don't even see. She's worked so hard with Oklahoma keepers coach Warren Russ, cutting off angles of attack, positioning her defenders. She's just been excellent, Nick.
You know, one of the things she brings to this back line is just stability. You know, it allows you as a defender to kind of play a little bit different. You can kind of get a little bit more aggressive and go forward and try to win the ball because you know you've got such a solid goalkeeper back there, you know, and every time you may get past as a defender, you know, like, hey, I've got someone back there who is going to back me up 100%. And so that is just a huge blessing to have if you're a defender.
Saw some of the danger that Kiefer brings as Crooks had to close her out. Aggies will get a throw in out of this. Taken by Kennedy Clark. Now back to Crooks. Crooks has been very good coming in and starting now 13 matches as a true freshman. A rock star is what Coach G. Guerreri has said about this freshman. Served toward the middle. Cleared out by Kat Campbell. And now Hattie Patterson, who's an Ole Miss transfer. was there in 2023 and 24. Got there right after Matt Mott left Ole Miss to come be Oklahoma's head coach. Here's Washington out of the pack for the Sooners. Played forward by Lacanole. Here's Patterson. Try to central that pass. It'll go out of bounds. Throw in coming here. And there is G. Guerreri, 35th year overall as a head coach at the Division I level, 33rd in College Station, second amongst active coaches in Division I in wins with 522, 16 Sweet 16, 7 Elite Eights. And he said that win over Texas had been brewing for a while. He said you do worry a little bit about the hangover because it was physical and emotional. Here's Kiefer threatening, able to sidestep Crooks, and it's blocked out of there. Veranda with a great save. Back it comes. This one hit low and just wide. Veranda got her mitts on it. That was a good strike by El Canty from just outside the 18 box. And already Mason Veranda shows you why she's earned this starting keeper spot.
And you see there, Kiefer takes that extra touch, and then she tries to lay it back across. I would have loved El Canty to take one more touch there, but she has that ability to score from distance. And so already Sooners are off to a hot start.
Such pressure that Kayla Kiefer puts on opposing defenses. That one headed down by Kiefer. She just threw everybody away from her to get to that header, and she is already threatening for the Sooners.
You know, when you speak to Coach Matt Mott, he says that Kiefer probably is the most athletic person on their team. I mean, she just has the ability to run, to shoot, to jump. I mean, just a goal-scoring machine. And at the beginning of the year, he said, hey, this is someone you definitely have to highlight on because she is that talented. And she is slowly starting to have those skills, and it's kind of starting to click at the right time.
There's Matt Mott, the Sooner head coach. No denying, he said, huge win on the road over Alabama. You get an RPI top 30 win. But he said they felt like they were playing really well going in. They had the loss on the road to Vanderbilt. It was a Sunday, second game of the weekend. You had a travel day. It was hot. They lost that one. And then they played just a really good South Carolina team. He said sometimes in the SEC you can play well and not get the desired results. But they certainly got one back on Thursday in Tuscaloosa. 3-1 victory. And even G. Guerreri, the A&M coach, said, wow, what a win. Not many teams go and win at Alabama like Oklahoma did. Aggies slowly start to initiate a little bit of offense. They've been very difficult to score on, but they just haven't finished like they would like to. You look at these two teams for the season. Oklahoma has only taken 11 more shots than Texas A&M, but they've scored 18 more goals. So the Aggies have had some chances. So they had that drought, having not scored in SEC play until their victory at Texas the other night. And Oklahoma's got 32 goals already, leading the conference. That's after they scored a program record 38 goals last season.
You know, and speaking of that, A&M has been in every game they've played in this year. You know, they've played number 4 ranked TCU, lost 2-1. They've played Arkansas, number 10 ranked, Tennessee, number 5 ranked, and both those games 1-0 respectively. But as you mentioned there, they're getting the shots. They just need to get them to finish. And so that's one thing when you speak to Coach G, he is looking for his team just to be a little bit more clinical in front of goal.
Oklahoma has pressed the attack here. That one taken by Mia Scranton. Cal Baptist transfer. And out of bounds it goes. It'll be an Oklahoma throw in over here on the near side. You see Mia Scranton. She's from Temecula, California. And this is what we're talking about. Just the results haven't been there. But as Coach Guerreri was talking about with this team, they've been in all of those. Arkansas had 1 shot in the second half. Tennessee had just 1 shot on goal. And then Auburn scored an amazing goal in the 87th minute. Just one of those, hey, tip your cap, go on down the road kind of a results for his team.
You know, when we speak to him, he said his team's still battling. His team knows that they're in a right spot and that, you know, you play soccer, things can change. Oh, what a save.
Hadley Morrell off the post there. Veranda had to dive twice to come up with that one, and Oklahoma is all over the A&M goal right now.
You know, don't think you realize how scary of a save that was, because those rounded posts, a lot of people who don't watch soccer know there's two types of posts. There's square posts and rounded posts. And when you have a rounded post, you just really don't know where the ball is going to come off at. And so she's diving to make that save. And if she's not right there, that ball goes right in. And so that is a beautiful save and just really being in the right place at the right time.
Now Alexis Washington threatens for the Sooners, serves it toward Morrell, and it's just wide. Again, Veranda flying in front of that cross. Another good one from Alexis Washington and the Sooners.
Yeah, Morrell had just got a little bit offside there, and that's where you see the flag at. But that is still very concerning if you're an A&M, because that's two chances in the span of about 20 seconds that Morrell has found herself free in the 18-yard box.
Hadley Morrell having another very good year for Oklahoma. Senior from Prosper, Texas. 10 career goals, 3 this year. Smart, attacking, distributor. Early substitution coming here for the Aggies. Savannah Hutchins is going to exit. So pretty quick, within the first 10 minutes, you get a substitution. Maybe an adjustment that A&M is going to make to be a bit more defensive, perhaps, Nick?
I mean, it looked like it was the outside back there on that left-hand side, and that is Washington's side. And we've seen that numerous times where, you know, when Washington starts hot, you really got to make a change quick, because Washington realized that she had that defender best in a 1v1 situation. So Washington was really taking advantage of all those touches. And so I think that was Coach G trying to say, hey, let's try to maybe bring someone in who's a little bit better defensively, or maybe someone who's a little bit quicker. So that way Washington kind of can slow down a little bit, because we know if Washington gets hot, this Sooners team is on fire.
Oklahoma's career assist leader is Alexis Washington, 22 of them. Very understated type of player, very quiet when she speaks, though. It carries a lot of weight with her teammates. Just had an excellent career at Oklahoma. Aggies reset it with Riley Crooks. Bella James going to reset this one into the back. Dropped forward toward Buchanan. Then fairly harmlessly trickles back to Duffy. Caroline Duffy will just pick that up. Has a super strong leg. She'll take a lot of free kicks for Oklahoma. In fact, she has 2 assists from her keeper position this year. Drills this one. Wind is blowing across the pitch today from near side to far side. Wind gusts of 20 miles per hour this afternoon. And there's Washington speeding to reach the ball first. 2 players surrounding her. Being marked by Kat Campbell. She'll take a quick throw in. Brown lets it trickle back for Pack. Oklahoma resets. Pack able to just get a foot on it. This is Lexi Dendis, very dangerous attacking player for the Sooners. Now Morrell. Working wide, but cut off nicely there by Scranton. Bella James circles back. Texas A&M content to play it back in their end of the field. But that's dangerous with this Oklahoma unit. Got to try to mount some sort of push the other way.
You know, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was just saying how dangerous they've been living here in this back final third that they've been playing in. And, you know, I know that's their style they want to play, but OU just presses so high. And with Kiefer, just her ability to run and put people in bad situations, you have to be precise on every single pass. And so A&M's got to kind of clean up a few passes if they're going to be trying to play throughout the back. And if they don't, the Sooners team is going to be right on top of them the whole game.
Washington tries to cross it. Bella Yakel cleared it for a moment, but Pack intercepts and resets. Washington drives it across the goal box, and leaping up to get it is the very busy Mason Veranda.
It was a great goalkeeping there by Veranda, just coming out knowing that Kiefer is going to be challenging that ball as well. And that's what you like to see out of your keeper. She's already made 2 really big saves, and you can tell that she is in the game right now, and that is going to be perfect for A&M going forward.
And she has had to be from the get-go. 2 saves already, 4 shots taken by Oklahoma here in this first half, and Mason Veranda has been there. Have our first foul of the match right there. Hadley Morrell picks it up for Oklahoma. On behalf of all play-by-play and analysts across the country, we want to thank these teams who do the striped on the front, solid on the back jerseys, because reading numbers on just stripes is a near impossibility for us, Nick. So thanks to the Aggies and all those schools who have now gone to the dark color on the back to go with the stripes.
You know, those are things I coached in college for a long time, and you never thought about, you know, what the jerseys on the back looked like, because you never even, you know, in the back of your brain, you never thought about what the commentary was going to have to do. But now that I am in this booth, I now understand how much of a blessing that is to be able to read numbers clearly. So I would definitely agree with you there.
Helps us to properly identify the very deserving players who are making plays, like Hattie Patterson right there. Riley Brown takes the Sooner throw in. Kiefer trying to post up and turn and go. Defended well by the Aggies. Crashing in comes Kiefer, and she's able to take that back for the Sooners. You just see how physical that she is. And Matt Mott was telling us that when she transferred in, her teammates almost didn't know how to take it. She was so aggressive and so difficult to deal with, but he said it didn't take him long to understand how valuable that is.
You know, and she is not afraid just to throw her body around. I mean, not only being physical, but it takes a certain type of player to say, hey, I know that I'm going to go get hurt in this tackle, you know, just because of where the ball is. And she's not afraid to do that for your team. So when you see someone in leadership that's willing to, you know, you always use that quote, and you hate to say it, die for their team. You know, like that just gives you a little bit more like, hey, if she can do it, I can do it too. And you've really seen that go through this Sooners team, where you've got a lot of girls now that are saying, you know what, if she's really going to work her tail off, then I've got to do it too. And so that has been a huge benefit for Matt Mott and his Sooners this year.
This ball comes down at the foot of Clark, who gets rolled. No foul call. Oklahoma gets clearance, intercepted by Riley Crooks, though. And now the Sooners capture the loose ball, and Rayo speeds the other way. Just off the ball right there, though. Intercepted. Yakel the other way. And there's Kiefer. Angling back toward Washington, a beautiful pass. Washington runs clear to it. Trying to turn and go, but defended very well over there by Patterson. And out of bounds it will go. Sooners keep it.
Even though she lost the ball there, I think that's a very smart play by Washington, because she realized that there was no one in the box. And so she was going to have a 1v1 type of play to let her players get inside of the box. So if she crossed it, she would have just been crossing it to no one. And so a little bit unfortunate there, great defending, but at the same time, she did what she did was best. She won a throw in their attacking half.
Alexis Washington, the senior from San Antonio, just does everything you ask. Facilitator, and as Matt Mott has talked about, she is their #1 go-to player. And you said it earlier, when you talk to opposing coaches and you say, hey, what about Oklahoma? What concerns you? It is without fail that the first thing they say is, well, number 12 has us concerned. That's Alexis Washington.
And it speaks to her longevity. I mean, she's been here for 4 years and just really taken this OU program to different heights. And now she's actually, I think this is the most dangerous she's been in her whole career, because now she has 2 forwards in Kiefer and Clark that can really go finish for her. If you look at her past center forwards that they've had, not that they've been bad, but they just now, you've got some two natural goal scorers in there. And so you see her numbers this year are really up to where her freshman year, those season highs that she has. And I'm expecting her to get a few more assists on the season because she is just really having a beautiful start here in her SEC play.
And you mentioned Naomi Clark, who will come off the bench for the Sooners today. She is healthy and good to go, but Oklahoma just going with a little different type of attacking lineup between Kiefer and Clark, rotating them in to keep their legs fresh as attackers. Naomi Clark, 7 goals on the year for Oklahoma. We'll see her in the not too distant future.
And that was one of the things when you spoke to Coach Matt Mott at the beginning of the year. I think the first game we called here at John Crane Field, they played 23 players. He has said this year's team is different because they have so much depth and they're not afraid to go to their bench. And they know that if they go to their bench, the level is going to stay the exact same. So now, as you're really getting to the meat of your schedule, you're able to save your players' legs a little bit. And so last year, they talked about how Hadley Norell had to play almost every minute. Now they give her the ability to say, hey, we can rest you for 10, 15 minutes and keep you at your best for those games when we need them, like that big win against Alabama.
Dendis had an edge for just a moment, but good closing speed shown there by Mia Scranton to take it away. And the counterattack by Buchanan. Centering pass comes to Holly Storer, one of the freshmen in there for the Aggies. Texas A&M beginning to connect a couple of things. Here comes Kennedy Clark. Wanted to take a try with her left foot, but she is stopped by Dendis. Washington able to circle past Hong and gain the edge again. Washington driving it across toward Kiefer, but it sails past her, clear to Scranton. Hadley Morell is all over James as they go back and forth.
It's much better movement by Texas A&M there. They're realizing that just rather than holding the ball and playing slow, if they do those nice one-touch passes, you're going to be able to break down this Sooners team. At the beginning of the game, they were just holding the ball for just a little bit too long, which was putting them under unwanted pressure. As coaches, we always say, if the ball dies, you want it to have a purpose. You want to have a reason why you're holding the ball for so long. And at the beginning of the game, you really didn't see that with this A&M team. Now you see it really starting to move all across the pitch, and they've had a little bit more success going forward.
Scranton defended well by Dendis. Here comes Hadley Morell for the Sooners. Hard tackle there by Scranton. Rolls Dendis, no foul call. And Bella James tries to thread the needle for the Aggies. This will roll out. And Pack will start the attack for the Sooners. Just a little too far out in front. And there's Washington over to take it for Oklahoma. Washington speeds around the corner and earns the first corner kick of the afternoon. It'll come from the far post, so it comes somewhat into the wind, which is gusting upwards of 20 miles per hour today. Looks like Lexi Dendis will go over and take this corner kick. Corner kicks, big deal. Oklahoma scored on a corner in the win over Alabama, and Matt Mott was talking about, you just look all around collegiate soccer. A lot of goals being scored on set pieces. Oklahoma had 2 back on Thursday, and Texas A&M scored on a set piece against Texas as Brown heads that one just wide of the right post, but put on target by Dendis. The Sooners had another solid opportunity to strike.
That's real unfortunate there by Brown. If she just kind of whips her head around that ball a little bit, I don't think she realized how open she was. Dendis really played this ball in, and if you see there, Brown had no one around, so if she could just take her time and really kind of pull her neck a little bit and whip that in, and she would have had a beautiful chance to have a goal there.
Kaylee Noble and Leah Diaz enter the lineup here for Texas A&M. They've been big contributors this year. Leah Diaz leads the Aggies in shots this year. Kaylee Noble, transferring from Cal State Fullerton, has scored 3 times this year. And she had a back heel assist that, if you haven't seen it, the assist she had to Trinity Buchanan for the lone goal against Texas, you need to take a look at that one. I'm sure it's available somewhere, Nick.
You know, just as you rewatch that, just the touch that she has, I mean, it is next level, because that ball is coming at her off a deflection, and so she has the presence of mind to not only take a touch and then back heel it and the same motion, which now allows a beautiful pass back to Buchanan. And if you thought the assist, you know, the back heel was great, the finish was just as good. I mean, she was inside of the laces, boom, curled it right around the keeper there. I mean, it was beautifully, it was just a beautiful play all around.
So Hadley Morrell will get a breather, and Naomi Clark in for the Sooners. 7 goals on the year, tied for 4th in the SEC, but still looking for her first goal since conference play began. And here she is with her foot to it. Very dangerous. She had a brace in each of her first 2 games as an Oklahoma Sooner, transferring in from Washington State. "25 minutes in, Oklahoma 5 shots, Texas A&M none on the scoreboard. And no score between these 2 teams. This ball dropped long, trying to get it to Buchanan. Sooners just kind of guide this one out of bounds, and now the Aggies will see their first corner of the afternoon.
You know, you saw a little bit of hesitation there from Duffy. I think that Lacanol was waiting for Duffy to come out and scoop up that ball, but Duffy was waiting for Lacanol to clear that ball. Normally, you've got a lot of communication back there, so a little bit unfortunate that they gave up the corner here. I know that Duffy will be upset with herself.
I believe Hattie Patterson is going to walk over and take the corner from the near post. There she is. First real good chance of the afternoon for the Aggies. Patterson, good drive right on top of the Oklahoma goal box, headed just wide. Duffy didn't touch it, so goal kick coming here for the Sooners. Look at what's happening in the SEC. Thursday night, a draw between Arkansas and South Carolina, tie between Kentucky and Florida. Tennessee with a good result on Thursday, handing Georgia their first conference loss, and of course wins by both of these teams. We've got 4 other games going on right now around the league. Tennessee is at Ole Miss, Alabama is at Missouri, Florida is at Texas, and South Carolina is at Auburn. And then a little bit later on, 6 o'clock Central, kind of the highlight feature match, if you will. 13th ranked Mississippi State is at 7th ranked Arkansas. But it's getting that time of the year. Calendar hits October, and you're trying to be one of those 12 teams to make it to Pensacola beginning on November the 2nd. Trying to get to the beach, as Matt Mott, the Sooner coach, has said for many years. Here's Clark. A little bit of space for her. Bumped off the ball by Scranton. Gets it outside wide for Brown now. But good defending by Diaz there. Scranton chases it down and resets things. Bella James has it intercepted. Rayo took it. Here comes Alexis Washington. Dangerous chance for the Sooners. Washington to Rayo. Juliet Rayo from just at the top of the 18 box hits it wide of the right post.
You know, and those things that we talk about, how Washington is so dangerous, but the only really chink in her armor that I would have loved to see there is, you know, you're 3v3 going to goal. That's where you want her to try to test the goalkeeper and say, you know what, I'm going to try to shoot this ball. You know, Washington always looks to make that a pass. That's just what she is really good at. But it also limits her because now defenders know that she's never going to at least take that shot. You know, you always want to tell your players, you have to make the defender at least think that you're going to do something different. And so you may never take that shot, but if you take one during a game, now they have it in their brain, well, oh, she may take this shot here in this moment. And so since she hasn't done that, it allows the defender to say, hey, I know that if we have a breakaway, she's going to look to pass. She's never going to look to go create for herself. And so that's the one thing that I'd love to see her add in her game that will make her just that much more dangerous for the Sooners going forward to the end of the season.
James trying to center that one up to Leah Diaz. Swipes at it with her left foot, and it's headed out of bounds by Oklahoma's Cassie Clifton. So a corner kick comes from the far post for Texas A&M as the Aggies look more dangerous here the last 5 to 8 minutes of this one. We approach 16 minutes remaining in our first half. It's going to be Trinity Buchanan over to take this corner kick from the far post. First year at Texas A&M after transferring from UNLV. And Duffy punches this one over the top of the crossbar, or did she? Nope, must not have touched it. It just hit the crossbar and then bounded out of bounds for a goal kick. Late first half substitutions. Go ahead, Nick.
Oh, that's just one of those that are extremely dangerous because you don't know. I mean, you've got to make that save there because you don't know if it's going to come in. And so she's definitely going to be, you know, giving a little kiss to that crossbar there. But as a goalkeeper, that is one of the most hardest balls to read because with the wind and with that in-swinging ball that Buchanan played, you just never know where it could end up.
Luciana Senaducate on for Oklahoma, along with Sophie Morin, who just headed that ball forward. Yekel will just drive it out of bounds ahead of the on-rushing Naomi Clark. Here's Washington again. Into the corner. Oklahoma throw-in coming here. Brown throws in to Senaducate. And that was not touched by an Aggie. So a goal kick coming for Texas A&M. Dendas controls it for the Sooners. This one's served ahead for Claire Curran. Curran drops it across the mouth of the goal box. Out it comes to Kaylee Noble, and the Aggies will get a throw in. 10 newcomers, 11 new starters for Texas A&M this year. And G. Guerreri said, you gather experiences. He said he's told his team, look at what we've been through, and that tells you can get through anything. They had their struggles to score, but got their first SEC goal against Texas back on Thursday. And they've gathered those experiences leading to that. It's only 2 fouls here in the half. We take a look at that aggressive slide by Brown that knocks Bella James down. Aggies playing without a couple of players today. Taylor Jernigan, who got injured against Auburn, has been out ever since. And then Lucy Landher suffered, fortunately, what turned out to be just a bruised quad because it looked like it could have been worse. A hard tackle in that Texas match. It's actually the foul that set up the game-winning free kick. But they would love to have Landher and Jernigan. They are both unavailable, though, today for G. Guerreri and the Aggies. Sooners have been pretty healthy this year. Naomi Clark's been beat up a little bit. They had Cassie Clifton miss the first 4 matches with an ankle. And Sophie Morin has battled a knee injury. Here's Alexis Washington trying to stop and start. Aggies have done a better job on her for about the last 15 minutes. Nice job stepping in there by Pack. And Oklahoma maintains possession. Dendas headed high into the sky by Campbell, still loose. Ooh. And there's an aggressive play on the ball by Sophie Morin. She earns a foul. Came over the back of Bella James.
And that's one thing that Morin brings to this team. You know, she sees their eyes on the ball. I mean, it wasn't really anything intentional there, but Morin is not afraid to throw her body just anywhere on the field. And that's something that Coach Matt Mott really highlighted, that they're a little bit more physical, and he kind of just puts a circle around Morin because she gives us that little bit of edge that the Sooners are looking for.
Noble trying to work it in. There's a nice little back heel look by Scranton. Riley Crooks headed away by Pack, but the Aggies regain it. More connection here for Texas A&M. Starting to put a few more things together.
We spoke about it a little bit ago. Just their passing has a little bit more purpose behind it. You know, that was the curse of the commentator there. As I say that, we have a bad pass. But you can just tell that their passers are saying, hey, we're putting the Sooners in different positions that we were in the first 10-15 minutes. Now we're saying, hey, can we move the ball quickly? You saw there Alexis Washington is having to come halfway across the pitch to try to win the ball back. And so if A&M can switch the ball a little bit quicker, then they're going to have that whole left-hand side open. But the Sooners now are just being very aggressive and saying, hey, they're just almost chasing shadows a little bit because they're not getting put in the right moments like they were at the beginning of the game.
Claire Curran does a good job there to win a throw-in for the Sooners. And Oklahoma going to substitute here late in the first half. Alexis Washington gets her first breather of the afternoon. And Emily Davey enters the lineup. Freshman from Rancho Santa Margarita, California for Oklahoma. Inadvertent handball there that clattered off of Riley Crooks. And a free kick coming here for Oklahoma. Not all that many set pieces here in this first half. We've had only 3 fouls called, and the Aggies have not been whistled for a foul in this first half. I think this might be Oklahoma's first free kick. Nick, do I have that right?
I think so, and that one was actually very lucky. I think the defender there was raising her arm because she thought the ball was out of play, and Clark just kind of backheeled it onto her hand, and so that was a little bit unfortunate there. But now you see Duffy with her free kick prowess.
Duffy driving this one toward the opponent's goal. Veranda comes out of the box and punches it away. And it's cleared off the foot of Buchanan out to near midfield. Taken back in by Brown. 9 minutes to go now in this scoreless first half. Over the top it comes toward Buchanan, who can't quite run to it. And Clifton will just clear it out for the Sooners.
Brave goalkeeping there, coming out and knowing that she's going to get hit, but she makes contact with that ball. You see her put 2 hands up. She punches that ball away, and she puts it in a position where the Sooners cannot hit the rebound.
Missed connection there. Skims away from Scranton. It'll be an Oklahoma throw-in. That's good pressure provided by Emily Davey right there for Oklahoma.
And that was Texas A&M there playing with fire, trying to backheel the ball inside of your own defensive third. I mean, that is something that Coach G is not really wanting to see happen a lot, because now you're just putting your team under more pressure.
Curran gets this wide, sends it across, and right into the stomach of Veranda there. Well, we've been watching Emily Davey getting her first appearance as an Oklahoma Sooner here. The Rancho Santa Margarita, California freshman, part of an excellent recruiting class. Oklahoma only returning 7 players from last year's roster, 10 true freshmen on this reshaped Oklahoma roster for Matt Mott and the Sooners. And he and his staff, Richard Beebe, Jessica Hiskey, and Warren Russ, putting together one of the top recruiting classes in the country. Good part for them was 23 of 28 on the roster were here in the spring to get some run as Sooners and kind of get into the flow of things. Matt Mott up directing some things out there. You know, you talk about the NCAA tournament. Certainly both these teams are in the mix. Oklahoma would be in definitely 9-3-1. They really just missed out last year. They had so many one-goal losses, 3 one-goal losses, but they've been in front of those this year. And when you start to talk about NCAA tournaments, I love what Matt Mott talks about with that, Nick, and that's he was on the committee for 4 years. He said, we know how it works, and they communicate with their players just where they feel like they stand with regard to the NCAA tournament, because they know, and they don't want them to hear, you know, rumors and speculation and innuendo and all those sorts of things. So they're really transparent with them. And right now it's good news for Oklahoma.
You know, and that's one of the things as a player you want, because if you're having a bad season or something doesn't, you know, the ball doesn't go your way, it's good to have a coach say, hey, I was on this committee. I know what these teams are looking for. I know what these coaches are looking for, and we're still right in the mix of it. And that's something that, you know, as a player gives you hope.
Michelle Pack with that threat that's cleared wide for an Oklahoma corner kick. What a great season that Pack has had for Matt Mott. He has highlighted her frequently all season long.
Sooner fans, get those ones in the air. It's a corner kick, Oklahoma.
Third corner of the first half for the Sooners. Dendis very dangerous with these. 5 assists for her this year. That's tied for the 4th most in the SEC. She's a transfer from Middle Tennessee State. Brown trying to reach it. Cleared out. Chased down by Leah Pirro. And the counterattack begins. Shea Ryan speeds around the edge. Ryan still on ball. Tried to center that one up toward Noble. And Ryan watches it roll out of bounds. Aggies will get a throw in here. Beg your pardon, it'll be an Oklahoma throw in. 5 minutes left in a scoreless first half. Shea Ryan is a transfer from Kansas out of Roseville, California, her first year at Texas A&M.
And that was just excellent defending there by Clifton. She realized the threat. Rather than going over early to go defend, she waited. She was playing the pass. They knew they were trying to play that pass to Buchanan in the middle, and so she just sat there and she was able to intercept that. That is going to be a big moment in this first half for the Sooners.
Oklahoma foul is the 4th whistled against the Sooners so far. Aggies not real aggressive with that free kick. They're just going to try to reset and organize. This one threads the seam. Ryan dangerous, but Duffy sprawls out. The veteran Oklahoma keeper saves the day for the Sooners as she takes it away from the on-rushing Shea Ryan.
That is a massive save there by Duffy. She has not been called upon a lot today, and that ball just kind of trickles through everyone. Just an unfortunate there, and so she has to make herself big. She knows that she's going to get hit when that ball is coming at her, and she still comes out big. You see her there, boom, goes to ground at the right time, catches the deflection. That is a massive save there by the senior, Caroline Duffy.
Duffy's kingdom, she says, thou shalt not score this time. Clarksville, Maryland native, spent 2 seasons at Duke, and in her 2nd season as Oklahoma's starting keeper. About 3.5 minutes to go in this scoreless first half. Oklahoma's got another freshman checking in, Allie Guthrie out of Plano, Texas. Sooners have outshot the Aggies 7-2 so far. Pack intercepts that one, drives it ahead for Clark. Clark gonna reset it back for Davey. Physically bumping into Bella James, and an Oklahoma throw-in coming. Clark right in front of the goal box. Aggies able to clear it though. Little head tennis. finally taken away by Scranton. Dendis, though, intercepts and resets for the Sooners. Here's Clark trying to just sideswipe that one.
You saw the idea there that Clark was wanting to do, but I would have rather her just receive that, knowing that she could have a better chance of turning herself to get that shot on goal.
Under 2 minutes to go now, and the Aggies will get a goal kick. Oklahoma has gone deep into the roster, and Matt Mott said, in the 2 days that you have off, in particular this time of the year, it's so important to just focus on being fresh. And he said at Oklahoma they have the pool regeneration they can do, the cryogenic chamber. Would you be up for a dip in the cryogenic chamber, Nick?
Hey, sign me up, because I ache every single time I walk.
I hear that. Here's Clark, dangerous, trying to force her way in. Right there with her is Crooks, though. Clark surrounded by 3 Aggies, still takes it out. And that'll be just wide off the foot of Emily Davey. Texas A&M knows full well how tough Clark can be. They had her surrounded there. They're not going to let her beat them.
You know, at the beginning we highlighted how good Kiefer is, but I think you could do the same with just how good Clark is. They're almost the same exact player. At the beginning of the year, you know, Coach Matt Mott played both Clark and Kiefer at the same time. But now you have the ability to say, hey, if you play them one at a time, they're never going to get tired, and they do the exact same. They're just relentless with pressure. They're good with the ball. They both can score. And so as a defender, when you think you're getting a rest, oh, no, now you have Clark coming in doing the exact same thing.
And right there you see Kiefer getting a breather here at the end of the half. Huge pile up of bodies as this one hits the crossbar and bounces over the top. Well, maybe that's a fitting way for the half to end. Dangerously close to a goal with about 1 second left in the first half, but clean sheets both ways in the opening half between the Sooners and the Aggies. We reach halftime here in Norman. Nothing decided between the Aggies and the Sooners. Let's look at this to close the half.
You know, right on cue there, we see Clark just making something out of nothing, just back turn, knowing where the goal is at, just heading the ball back. And I mean, if she was just a little bit forward there, that would have been 1-0 for the Sooners in the perfect way to go into halftime.
Texas A&M coach G. Guerreri kind enough to join us. 9-3-1 start, 2-3-0 in SEC play. You heard him mention it, Nick. It goes without saying sometimes. We're in October, and it's going to approach 90 degrees on the pitch of John Crane Field. So here's a look at the SEC standings as the battle to the beach in Pensacola is underway. Top 12 will qualify for the SEC championship. We'll play that one down there in Pensacola November the 2nd through the 9th. And Oklahoma would be in. It's by points, how many points you collect in the conference race. Texas A&M would be on the outside looking in right now. So getting a goal, getting a win would go a long way for both these teams towards securing a trip to the SEC postseason championship. Other games going on around the league today. You got Tennessee at Ole Miss, Alabama at Missouri, Florida at Texas, South Carolina is at Auburn. And you look at these scores later on tonight, you got LSU and Georgia, but Tennessee and Ole Miss tied up at 1 apiece. What a result that could be for the Rebels if they could come away with a win. And Auburn with a 1-0 lead on South Carolina. Potential upsets brewing around the conference. Vanderbilt is just so steady and consistent, Nick. It is so hard to score against them.
You know, and we saw that problem when the Sooners played them. I mean, they are just bringing a different level of consistency, and that is why they are in the rankings where they're at.
Arkansas, Mississippi State, South Carolina, all unbeaten so far in SEC play. You got Tennessee sitting there at 4-1 as we hit the final month of this regular season. Both teams have emerged from the halftime locker rooms. Oklahoma really came out quickly, driving shots into the box, testing Mason Veranda, the Texas A&M keeper. We will see if they get off to a fast start here in half number 2. Sooners played 19 players in the first half. Aggies played 18. As you heard Matt Mott talk about the heat down there on the pitch at John Crane Field this afternoon. And we are ready to roll here with half number 2. Some of the late first half substitutions, it looks like, will stay out there for half 2. But no reason to really change things up in a major way, you wouldn't think, because it's still scoreless. Nobody is front running. Nobody has really done anything to lead themselves to believe they can't win this. So why would you change it up drastically?
You know, as a coach, when everything seems to be going perfect, like you said, when it's 0-0, you kind of just want to throw the same team out there. You know, if you trusted them enough to start the game and it's still 0-0, then why not continue that start unless you see something you drastically needed to change, which I think both teams did really well in that first half. So I don't expect there to be a lot of changes. But like we mentioned, I think both teams will go to their bench a little bit quicker this half because of how hot it is. And unless you've played soccer in Oklahoma, it's just a different level of hot. And unless you're here, you just don't know what to expect. And so you see a lot of these girls that are from out of state, they just think, oh, they know Oklahoma's hot, but it's just a different type of heat that when you're running, you know, 5-6 miles per game, really wears on you throughout the course of 90 minutes.
Canty wins the ball for Oklahoma. Here's Rayo. And now Alexis Washington. Shadowed by Patterson. Wanting to try to serve it across. And, you know, you say this as well. Oklahoma, last 2 days, they've been able to be at home, recuperate. We talked about get in the pool, do the recuperative processes, and Texas A&M had to travel, get up here to Norman. So typically the advantage goes to the team that is able to host, get a little rest, be in their own bed, so to speak.
And I think that's one thing underrated that a lot of us don't talk about, is just that ability that you're able to sleep in your own bed and you get to go in your own rhythm. You know, you wake up, you know exactly what you're going to do. You get to go to your kitchen. You know where the forks are at. You know, when you're on the road, everything changes just a little bit. And for some of these athletes, that one little change can now dictate the way they go the rest of the day. And so I think that A&M has really came out strong here. But for the Sooners, they really have to attack this start.
You see what Oklahoma has done at home this year. They've been excellent. Only the defeat at the hands of South Carolina. 7-1-1 at home. What a great non-conference. They were unbeaten in non-conference play for the first time in program history. The Sooners ranked for the first time a little earlier this year, for the first time since 2017. First set piece of the second half is an Oklahoma corner that's cleared. Clifton will reset this back to Duffy. Mason Veranda out to send this one the other way for Texas A&M. Had a very good first half, did Veranda. This, though, stolen. Hadley Morrell. Kat Campbell stays with her for A&M. As they drop out of bounds, it'll be an Oklahoma throw-in. Hadley Morrell's had such a good career at Oklahoma. 4th year, basically been a 4-year starter. She'll have 5,000 minutes under her belt at this level by the time it's all said and done. And there she is, as Oklahoma gets another corner kick. This time it'll be Michelle Pack from the far corner.
Sooner hands get those ones in the air. It's a corner kick. Oklahoma. Brought to you by the Big Panther.
Pack right in front of the goal box, punched into the air, headed just wide as Kiefer was able to get her head to it. Dangerous look for the Sooners to start half number 2.
And one of the things you notice is that every Texas A&M player is inside of their own 18, so that must have been something they highlighted at halftime. You saw no attacking player go up, and so that just speaks to how dangerous OU is with corners.
How about the play so far by Veranda? Able to punch that one away from her own goal and keep this game scoreless. This is Scranton playing it ahead. Bella James out wide now to Emma Hong, who starts the second half. Redshirt freshman from Flower Mound, Texas. And that'll roll out of bounds. Riley Brown back there defensively for Oklahoma. She has had an all-SEC caliber year. Transferred from Washington. I think Matt Mott and the staff felt good about the player they had, but I'm not sure they knew just how consistent a contributor she was going to be. She regularly is in charge of marking the opposing team's best player. Katie Shea Collins for South Carolina, Gianna Paul from Alabama, and man, she has been good back there for the Sooners.
You know, and that was one of the things we mentioned. You know, how are they going to replace the back line that they had? You know, last year they had multiple players there who were four-year starters for the Sooners and just players who have historic numbers there. And that was a highlight of saying, hey, how are we going to be able to replace that? They brought in two true freshmen and Brown herself, and they were really worried. But I think this team has really expanded, and now they're like, man, we're actually just as good defensively as we were last year.
Washington able to get around the corner. Three players surround her. And that one goes behind the goal. But Alexis Washington has the full attention of the Texas A&M defenders. This is a little different look. They let Veranda take the touch and just play it off to allow the ball to be hit a little further downfield.
So one of the things that really go unnoticed there is that a lot of players can kick the ball a lot farther if it's on the roll. And so there are players who can't really do that from a dead stop like most goalkeepers can. Like Duffy can take the ball from a dead stop and just launch it into the next state over. And so you've got some keepers that just have to have that roll a little bit so that way they can get a little bit more distance on it. And so you saw that in the hole in the first half and the second half, and now they're playing it with the wind, which is allowing that ball to travel just a little bit further.
Deflected wide, out of bounds by Dendis. A throw in coming here for the Aggies. 7 minutes into the second half, still no score. Good defending by the Sooners to gain possession back. This will come wide for Riley Brown. Cut off, trying to work it to Alexis Washington, but Hong takes it.
It's a great step there by Rayo.
So Rayo gathered it back for the Sooners. Aggies take it right back, though. And Duffy had her eyes on that. Texas A&M trying to get it toward Buchanan. Duffy was up to it. She starts the Sooner counterattack the other way. Morrell driving it toward keeper. Yekel takes it back for the Aggies. Here's Dendis.
Beautiful ball there.
Morrell hits one with her left foot to the backside. Kiefer not quite there. This one is hit hard and wide by Juliet Rayo. Oklahoma, two opportunities, could not cash in, but once again, oh so close.
You know, we spoke about it at halftime. Can the Sooners be more clinical? They're having these chances on goal, right there, and you see a beautiful chance there if Kiefer kind of throws her body a little bit, but you see she recollects herself, and boom, right there. Rayo is so good in front of goal. She knows that she wants that one back because of her ability to really shoot. I mean, she scored some wonderful goals this season, and so she's definitely, you know, haunting herself. But these are going to be the moments where Sooners have to say, hey, we've got to capitalize on one of them. The longer this game goes, they're going to be just really ruining these chances. They've got to make one of these last.
I'm telling you that it's dangerous right there in front of your own goal, and you got an attacker rushing on. Hard to get a clean strike with that attacker right in front of you. But the Aggies, as you said, utilizing that to maybe move the ball forward a little better. Here's Hong. Attempted little backheel pass by Clark, intercepted by the Sooners, though. Beautiful header there by Canty. Kiefer couldn't quite control it. And here comes Hong. Just served it a little wide of Holly Storr, trying to run up to it. Oklahoma will get a throw in. 10 minutes into the second half, and still no score. Oklahoma 10-2 out shooting Texas A&M. Sooners have gotten away the only 2 shots so far here in half number 2. Oklahoma 7-1-1 at home this year. That one went off of Kiefer, and a throw in coming here for Texas A&M. But first, some Aggie substitutions will run onto the pitch. Kennedy Clark will get a breather, replaced here by Kaylee Noble.
Stepping onto the pitch for Texas A&M, number 7.
There's Noble. Kaylee Noble out of Los Alamitos, California. Spent 2 years at Cal State Fullerton and was on the first team All Big West team last year. She came in the latest of all of these transfers for G. Guerreri, but she's been a big contributor. Had the assist on the game-winning goal against Texas the other night, did Kaylee Noble. Duffy to drive it away. Tell you what, the wind has died down pretty considerably since the beginning of the game. Still at times gusting upwards of 20 miles per hour. Duffy got under that one just a little bit. And Oklahoma controls it. Is off of Pack, though. Nice job to step in there and disrupt things. I think it was Buchanan who got in there for the Aggies and ends up going off of Pack. Noble reaches it and earns a corner kick. So we'll see if Texas A&M can take advantage of it, as that one deflected off of Lacanole. It'll be the 4th corner of the day for Texas A&M.
You know, and that's one of the things we highlighted at halftime. Can the teams really get something out of these set plays? You know, I think we only had a handful in the first half, and now you've already seen 2 corner kicks for the Sooners and now 1 for Texas A&M. These are the moments where we're going to get a potential goal scoring opportunity. We've got to make something out of these moments.
Addie Patterson takes it. Headed into the air by Juliet Rayo of Oklahoma. Here comes Washington. She reaches it first. Kiefer runs ahead of her. And a nice alert job by Yackel to come over and clear it out of bounds for the Aggies. Some fairly early substitutions here. Naomi Clark is going to replace Hadley Morrell for the Sooners. And I think Drew Legan will come on the back row for Oklahoma as well. No score. 31 minutes left here. Neither team's been able to put one to the back of the net just yet. Brown serves it into the center of the field. Savannah Hutchins, North Carolina State transfer, on the receiving end, and this one will come back to Duffy. Rayo able to come away for the Sooners, and now Pack. Dendis. And here's Naomi Clark. That deflected off of Clark. And so the Aggies will get a goal kick.
There's your Clark there. That is so unlucky, but you saw the space. Whenever the Sooners can switch that ball quick, that's when they have the best chances there. And like you see here, she crosses. Just so unfortunate there for Clark that it goes off her. But Sooners, whenever they move that ball quick, we spoke about it for A&M as well. But when the Sooners can move that ball quick, that's when the success happens.
Leah Diaz enters the lineup for Texas A&M. And Oklahoma going to get Sophie Morin in for some run. This is Canty. Washington now wide, looking to serve it across. And she will earn the Oklahoma corner kick. That'll be number 6 for the Sooners, their 3rd here in this second half. Can they take advantage? Alexis Washington earning another set piece for her team. How many corner kicks do you think she's earned in her career?
You know, it's funny you say that, because I was actually in my brain thinking, do you think someone has that stat somewhere? I mean, because yes, she leads the Sooners all time in assists, but she has got to have at least over 500 corner kicks won.
Speaking of which,
and that's just what makes her so dangerous. You know, every time she gets on the ball, you see a lot of players, if they don't get a goal, can you get something out of it? And she always seems to get something out of it that helps her team out.
This time Dendis serves it across, punched out. Verona knocking them over like bowling pins inside her own goal box. And that'll be a foul against the Aggies as Clark gets dropped, and that foul called against Hutchins.
And you see there Clark just being smart, getting her body in front of the ball, and you see that they have to go through her to win the ball. So the Sooners are going to just treat this as just like another corner, just a little bit closer.
That's only 2 fouls whistled against Texas A&M today. Sent across by Morin. Out it comes. Rayo will leave it wide for Washington. Washington serving it toward the box. Across it goes. Still in front. Turning. It is deflected as Canty got a try away for the Sooners. Clark is able to head it down. And I believe we had offside against Oklahoma. Is that what we had there, Nick?
Yes, you've got an offsides there. Clark just didn't make her way back, but I don't think she was expecting that ball from Brown to come all the way back through. But you see there, just we talked about a second ago, there's just too many missed opportunities there. You just see Lacanol trying to win it. You see Ellie Canty just really trying to score that. But this is going to be one of those games where the Sooners have got to capitalize on one of these chances.
Duffy just drives it away from the 18 box, out of bounds. 11-2 in shots in favor of Oklahoma, but only 3 of the 11 shots have been on goal. This long throw in just gets blown right back out of bounds. Nice intercept there, taken away by Buchanan. But Clark takes it right back for the Sooners. This is Leah Diaz. Brown got a touch on it. Taken by Noble. And this will be out of bounds for an Oklahoma throw-in. Nick, it just feels like whichever team makes a big mistake, that's going to be the determiner.
You know, both teams are playing very well, and I agree with you. I think it's going to be one of those moments where an errant pass or just a silly tackle that you make where you don't need to, that's going to be the moment where it's going to say, hey, that's, you know, when you're as a coach, you highlight those moments, and that would be a moment you highlight and say, hey, if we didn't do this, then we would have not have lost that game. Or it may get to a situation where it's like, for the Sooners, you highlight all these chances saying, hey, we've got to get one of these to go in for us.
Noble pumps one over the crossbar there, and Oklahoma gets a goal kick. Little breather here for Kayla Kiefer. Claire Curran runs onto the pitch for Oklahoma. Wynn knocked that ball down on the free kick by Duffy. Claire Curran winning it for the Sooners. Riley Brown now driving it toward Clark. Clark comes down for Oklahoma. Clark has a little space. Here's Alexis Washington. And another Oklahoma corner kick. So good at baiting defenders in, thinking she's going to cross it, and then she just hits it off your leg. That time it was Diaz.
You know, we talk about it in basketball a lot, but she's got such a quick release. The way that she really can whip her right foot around that ball, she can do it with such pace that the defenders are now trying to catch up, and they kind of stick their leg out, which allows her to not only get off the crosses quickly, but it also allows her to win those corners as well.
This is 5 corner kicks here in the first 19-20 minutes of this second half for the Sooners. Tried a little differently, and that goes wide of everybody. Trying to work it across to the far side of the 18 box for Curran. This one rolls down to Diaz, who initiates for the Aggies. Legan heading it down. Morin tries to clear it, but stepping back in comes Scranton for the Aggies. Now Savannah Hutchins. And Hutchins' attempted cross is deflected. Aggies will take their first corner kick of half number 2. Savannah Hutchins earns that one. North Carolina State transfer. 4 matches there last year. This is her first season at Texas A&M. Aggies went out, got 10 newcomers from 10 different schools and 9 different conferences in the offseason. Basically an all-new team. As we mentioned at the start of things, none of the players who started, the 11 who started for Texas A&M, was a starter at the end of last year. Solid corner try there. Still loose in the Oklahoma 18 box. Diaz got one away. That one goes off the post. Oklahoma never got clearance, and the Aggies nearly made them pay.
Stepping onto the pitch for the Oklahoma Sooners, number 23, Cassie Clifton.
That's one of those that, I mean, that's what happens if you don't clear your lines at the very beginning. You saw Naomi Clark there just kind of go softly with her head to try to win that, and she didn't clear her lines, which allowed the ball to kind of be stuck in the box there. If you're Duffy, you have got to be shouting and just screaming, saying, hey, we've got to just do at all costs get rid of this ball. And that was one of those moments where, as coaches, you always tell your teams, put the ball in the box. You don't know what might happen.
Washington sends it across again. This one cleared out. It'll be a throw-in. I mean, Alexis Washington has been a threat all afternoon long on the right side for the Sooners. First half and second half. Hadley Morrell is back in for Oklahoma. Canty is out. Rayo is out, and Pack is in for the Sooners as well. Under 22 minutes left. Who can find a score? In it comes for Naomi Clark. Now Washington will take another Oklahoma throw in. Beg your pardon. Brown's going to come up to take it. There's Clark surrounded. Nobody home up top, and Morin comes and steals the attempted clearance. That ball kind of dangerously lurking around the top of the 18 box, and Trinity Buchanan just decided to clear it out. Curran unable to earn that corner that time. Will be a goal kick here for Mason Veranda. 20 minutes to go. A few more substitutions running on. There's Leah Pirro, the double transfer from first San Diego to Grand Canyon, and then Grand Canyon to Texas A&M.
Oh,
that was close. Clark lurking, and the Aggies are really taking some chances with that little touch pass on the goal kicks. This intercepted by Michelle Pack. Curran, watched by Scranton, turns back. Now here's Pack. Across the top of the 18 box, Morrell got her foot to it, bobbled a little bit, but taken by Veranda.
You know, one of the things we don't talk about enough, that yes, it allows the defender to get a little bit extra distance on the kick, but the thing we don't talk about is that it actually allows the offense to get closer to goal. And so you see there Clark was running towards the goal, but if that ball gets played right back into the goal mouth, Clark is now still on sides because the defenders are inside of their own goal mouth. And so it's almost a blessing and a curse in the same time. And so that's where it's one of those, it's risk reward. You're really risking it because you're getting a reward because you're able to play it a little bit longer, but you're also having a lot more risk because if they play the ball back, if you make a bad pass, if something happens, you're now keeping the opponent's attacking player on sides, which is now going to cause you more problems.
Foul called there on Riley Brown coming in at the end of that play, but she's back to intercept that pass. Down to the foot of Pirro. Pirro drives it across. Ligon heads it down. Out of the 18 box, Hutchins fires. Saved by Duffy. Savannah Hutchins looking for her first career goal. Nearly got it here.
It's a beautiful play there. She touches on her right. She's just knowing that if I put the ball on frame, you know, it may go through 2 or 3 Sooners' legs there, and any kind of deflection was going to give Duffy a problem. But for the Sooners, you know, we don't talk about it enough. Duffy has not had a lot happening for her today. And for the fact that she just made that save look so comfortable, I mean, that speaks to just how good of a player she is. And, you know, we spoke about at the beginning, she's over 100 career saves now, and she had 67 last year, which was 5th in the SEC. I mean, Duffy just brings a level of confidence as a defender that you just love to have, because you know that if something bad is going to happen, she is going to help clean you up. And so that was just really important there by Duffy to still stay true, to still stay honest on her lines. And she is going to be one of those moments we spoke about, the highlighted moments. Is that going to be a moment to where if she just kind of falls asleep, is that going to change the game for us?
Oklahoma throw-in coming here midfield. 17 minutes remaining. Oklahoma has outshot Texas A&M 12-6. Michelle Pack in to take that ball for the Sooners. This one comes ahead. Sends it across. And there's Veranda once again. That ball is kind of hovering up there in the wind.
think that was a little bit unlucky there because that ball did die in the wind. That was a beautiful driven cross there by Clark. But you saw there, the longer that ball was in the air, it just kind of delayed. And Washington was making a good chance to go attack it, but there was no chance she could because of how slow that ball was coming down.
Ryan able to win that ball for the Aggies and give them a chance. This ball sent a little bit behind Diaz. And Diaz hits that one wide. Leah Diaz leads Texas A&M in shots. She had a brace against Lafayette earlier this year. She's a transfer from Tulsa. Spent 2 years there.
Stepping onto the pitch for the Oklahoma Sooners, number 6, Kayla Kiefer.
Was able to sneak that one in between two Oklahoma defenders. Canty returns for Oklahoma, and Morin jogs off. Getting a breather for the Aggies will be Hutchins. You see Alexis Washington going to get a breather for the Sooners and then likely come back in. Aggies probably happy not to have to deal with number 12, at least for a few minutes. Clark able to just squirt that ball forward with the header. Oh, big collision and a whistle, foul. I think they will get that against Reese Roop. Just the third foul whistled against Texas A&M today. She ran into Canty. Here's where Duffy becomes dangerous for Oklahoma. Strong leg, and you've got another attacker forward with your keeper taking this free kick. Ooh. Bella James heads it out for the Aggies, and they get clearance.
Surprised the ref didn't stop the game there a little bit sooner. It looks like we have a Texas A&M player still grabbing her head a little bit. Now you see the ref kind of going over there to make sure she's okay. It looks like there was just two of the Texas A&M players collided on that free kick. But you see there, just a little bit coming together with the heads, a little bit unfortunate there. They seem to be both okay. It was one of those moments where, you know, they're both looking at the ball, they kind of get each other, and so they're both giving thumbs up. So glad to see that there from both the Texas A&M defenders.
No doubt. It's Kat Campbell and Bella Yakel, but they're both going to stay in. Look like they're all right. Meantime, there was a foul called against Ryan. She was in a real wrestling match with Oklahoma's Drew Legan. They've stopped the clock here with 14 and a half minutes left. Oklahoma's ready to make some substitutions, but Duffy's going to take the free kick. Hot afternoon in Norman. Second game in 4 days for both of these teams. Who's got the energy to finish? Clark heads this one forward. Headed out of the box by Patterson of the Aggies. Sooners kept possession, but Riley Brown, a good little touch there to get it back. El Canty trying to step in there. Beg your pardon, that was Curran trying to step in for Oklahoma. Sooners really high pressing, trying to force the Aggies to make a mistake, which they have not done today. And a counterattack now for Texas A&M. Ryan went off of her foot. Brown calmly clears it for the Sooners. Out of bounds it goes.
And that's the one thing that Brown has really brought to this back line. Just that calm leadership, you know. Whenever Clifton was out, you had to start two true freshmen back there on the back line. And what Brown allowed you to do was say, hey, I've been here before, I've done this. And it allowed the freshmen to grow in ways that you may not have been able to give them chances to grow. It allowed them to be able to make mistakes because of how good of a player Brown was.
Duffy able to pluck that one from harm's way and send it the other way for the Sooners. 13 minutes remaining. Kiefer gallops toward this one. Turns the corner. Crooks watches her. Kiefer drives it wide behind the goal. And back come Washington and Rayo for Oklahoma. Ligon and Curran are off. Lexi Dendis back out. And Naomi Clark is off for Oklahoma as well. So the goal kick will be taken here. Once again, Veranda will touch it, and then Crooks will drive it away. Clock is stopped. Kiefer is waiting to pounce. And instead, they will just let Crooks go ahead and drive it out of the goal. And that's out of bounds. Sooners couldn't quite keep it in. Long throw in, sails back to Ryan. Well defended by Oklahoma. Kiefer trying to work it into that corner toward Washington. Washington fends off the defender and takes it in. Washington able to earn another corner as that one goes off of Patterson. I'm going to guess, Oklahoma, this is going to be 9 corners on the day. I would bet that she's earned 7 of them.
At minimum, and I think we could say that throughout her whole career. I mean, that's just something she does very well. She sizes up the defender, and she just knows where to put it. One of the things that we've got to mention, even though we have 9 corners, we've got to have a little bit better delivery. We've got to get something out of them like we did in the first half. We've got to see if we can make something happen from this corner.
Dendis drives it across. Loose outside the goal box. Cleared out by Mia Scranton. Back out it comes. Clifton will drive it back in with her left foot. Right back it comes to Washington. Washington sends it across toward Kiefer. Getting a piece of it is Yakel. And Oklahoma regains it with Rayo.
Very saucy feet there by Rayo.
Now Pack. And right into the arms of Veranda, who's been up to the challenge all day long. Good defending there by Yakel.
Let's go, Sooners!
Yakel is one of those players. Gigereri said her maturity has been a hallmark of the way this team has evolved with all the newcomers, and Yakel's one of them. Coming in from Portland, she's played over 5,000 career minutes, and you see it on plays like that, going head-to-head with one of the best in the SEC, Kayla Kiefer. So here's Buchanan back on, and Diaz back out there as well. More of an attacking presence for the Aggies to try to close it. And a Sooner foul, giving Texas A&M a free kick chance here as we approach 10 minutes remaining. Samantha Martinez whistling the 7th Sooner foul. Aggies have been called for 4. Yakel ready to take this one. So Bella Yakel set to strike it. Process it right into the middle of the 18 box. Bella James got her head to it, but Duffy is there to scrape it up. This is Noble just kind of lurking in front of Duffy, and Duffy mishit that ball. Oklahoma will get a throw in out of it, but got to think that Noble's presence there made Duffy a little itchy taking that.
It's one of those where I mean, technically, as a attacking player, you're allowed to stand right on top of the 18 because you're not in the goal box. You're not really causing a problem. But at the same time, you know that you could potentially get hit. And so it's kind of a catch-22 scenario where you're saying, hey, maybe I may cause her to have a bad kick or, you know, have a mistake like you saw there. I mean, I can count on one hand how many times Duffy has kind of miskicked a ball like that. And so Noble is really trying to win her team some chances further up the pitch.
Clark has returned for the Sooners. Hadley Morell is off as Canty wins the ball, clears it wide for Washington. Washington trying to work that one toward Kiefer, who is running down the center of the field. Nice ball played out to midfield for Noble. And we got offside called against the Aggies. Oklahoma defenders pressed so far up that Savannah Hutchins, who was really just past midfield herself, she was called for offside.
And
there she is, just barely.
Well, so they're not calling the offside there. They're actually calling it on Noble as she's coming back to receive the ball. And so that's one of those moments where she was already behind the play. She pressed up so high, and that's why it looked like she was in so much space, because she was running in front of the defenders there. That's very good defending by the Sooners, knowing that, hey, if our line stays true, then we know who's onside or offside.
Under 8 minutes to go, still no score. Here comes Michelle Pack for Oklahoma. Now Naomi Clark charging forward, but surrounded and cleared. Nice job to swoop up the sideline there by Hutchins and play it ahead to Noble. Noble's pass is cut off, though. Noble trying to drop that one over the top of Duffy, and over the crossbar it goes.
We're in for a fun last 7 minutes of this game, because I think both teams are going for it. Both teams realize, you know, we spoke at the very beginning, momentum. How can you continue this momentum? The Sooners coming off that big win, and A&M coming off that big win as well. They're trying to carry that to the last part of this season. And, you know, we showed the SEC standings there a little bit. This conference is wide open in the middle of the pack. You know, you've got some heavy hitters in Arkansas and Tennessee and South Carolina just winning a lot of those games. You know, we spoke about how Georgia just lost their first game, but you've got a lot of this middle section where you can say, hey, if we win 1 or 2 games, we are going to secure our place on the beach. And that's what both of these teams now are fighting for. And it's going to be a fun last few minutes of this game.
It's going to be a fun last month of the season as well, as you're talking about, with those teams grouped up. You know, 5 through 12 in the conference standings. Top 12 will make the SEC postseason championship. Yakel ready to drive in another free kick right to the top of the 18 box. Headed out there wide by Kat Campbell. But Duffy is there. Campbell's trying to head that down toward Noble. Duffy had her eyes on it, though. She'll come out to take it with under 6 minutes to go. Or the wind really impacting these kicks Duffy's taking. This will be controlled by Diaz. And here come the Aggies again. Riley Brown somehow continues to find the energy. Riley Brown has played every minute for Oklahoma today. She is the only player outside of the keeper, Duffy, to play every minute for the Sooners. That's how valuable she's become. The Aggies have 3 players, Yakel, James, and Campbell, in addition to Mason Veranda, the keeper, who have played every minute today. Under 5 minutes to go. Taken by Campbell. Open space for her. Running toward it is Hutchins. Could not quite save it, and a goal kick here for Duffy and the Sooners. Little cleaner strike this time for Duffy. Washington somehow controls it. Here's Clark. Scranton runs with her. Stops and starts. And Scranton a good job to keep her contained. This is Diaz. Forward it comes for Noble. Working her way back to the right. This goes off the body of Diaz, and then Diaz is able to work that one for a corner kick for Texas A&M. Via Diaz, very dangerous.
And her touch there just goes a little bit too far, but Ellie Canty comes in there to make a great save. And I mean, just like we mentioned, this is end-to-end soccer. You know, this is just 2 seconds ago, we were down on the other side taking a throw in for the Sooners offensive third, and now Texas A&M has a corner kick. I mean, this is a very exciting end to this game.
That ball served across. Comes down to the foot of Patterson. And Kiefer starts the other way for the Sooners. Ball attempted to get to Washington, but cut off. Riley Crooks took it. 2.5 minutes to go. Here's Texas A&M with a chance. Buchanan hits it in with her left foot. Duffy is there for Oklahoma. She'll rifle it out toward Clark. Here comes Clark, winning it for Oklahoma. Ahead it comes Kiefer. Offside called, though. Kiefer was 1v1, but she was well offside, and that was alert defending there by Hattie Patterson, who was the last defender back. But she was able to chase far enough upfield to get the offside.
I think that's beautiful defending there. Just you saw that Patterson just kind of waited. That's just that excellent leadership that she's got. I mean, that's that 5,000 minutes of games played. She realized she was never going to catch up with Kiefer, but she realized if she kept on running, she would have allowed Kiefer to stay onside. So by her just staying true to her line, seeing Kiefer run, it allowed her to say, hey, when that ball gets played, because we know it's going to happen, we're going to get that offsides call in our favor. That's beautiful defending.
Minute 30 to go. Trinity Buchanan shakes a couple of Oklahoma defenders. She actually got a decent look at that. One hopper right into the lap of Oklahoma's Caroline Duffy. Shots have gotten closer here. Texas A&M's been more dangerous in half number 2. Oklahoma out shooting Texas A&M 12-10. The dangerous Alexis Washington with another run. Washington approaches the 18. Inside the 18, fires herself just wide of the top left corner. Doesn't take a whole lot of shots. That one was a dangerous one.
And that's one of those moments where I wish she would have done all game, because she had that and it would have opened up her game a little bit. But there, that is what makes Washington so dangerous. Her ability to do a little shift, a little step over, boom. Just, she was so focused on leaning up just a little bit. If she just gets over that ball, that is going to be beautifully placed in the side netting, and it would have been 1-0 for the Sooners.
45 seconds remaining. Does anybody have a last push for a goal? This one back to Duffy. Here's Kiefer. Everybody's on side. Can Curran reach it? She cannot. And with 20 seconds to go, that might well be the final push for either team. This one looks headed for a scoreless draw between these two teams. I think Veranda's just going to be content to let time wind out.
8, 7,
Well, back and forth all afternoon long. Veranda hits it out of bounds, and we wind up with a scoreless tie between the Sooners and the Aggies on a sweltering October afternoon in Norman, Oklahoma. 0-0 is the end result. Oklahoma goes to 2-3-1 in SEC play, 9-3-2 overall. Texas A&M's mark 1-4-1 in conference play, 4-5-4 for the 2025 season. So the teams will exchange handshakes. We'll come back and wrap things up from Norman in a scoreless draw between the Sooners and Aggies on SEC Network. Scoreless tie. Each team will earn 1 point toward qualification for the SEC Championship in Pensacola in early November. A 0-0 draw between the Sooners and the Aggies. Each team had chances here this afternoon. Oklahoma outshoots Texas A&M 13-10.